Good morning. So, growing up as a child, I really loved hearing stories about Jesus as a child or his youth. And I think that that's just natural for kids. They want to hear stories about other kids that they can relate to. And some of those stories were really interesting. One story that I was taught was about a time when Jesus found a dead bird and he resuscitated the bird and it flew away, and all of his friends were amazed. Another story that I heard was that Joseph, his father, who was portrayed as a carpenter, was working on a project and didn't have a board that was suitable for his project. And so Jesus miraculously lengthened a board for his father. Another story I heard was that Jesus saved his brother from dying of a snake bite. Now, all of these stories were very miracle-based stories, but they didn't have any theological underpinning. They were sort of magic trick stories. Jesus was always portrayed as rather precocious, and I would even say kind of a brat. But the stories were something that most kids could probably relate to. Now, as I grew older, what I realized was that there was a host of stories that were invented in the first century about Jesus's childhood. And all of these stories that I heard, none of them were actually in Scripture. None of them are recorded in the Holy Bible. And the reason for that is that the people who compiled the canon over a period of time used some discernment and some wisdom. They paid attention to the stories, they paid attention to the authorship, they paid attention to authenticity. And so their wisdom and good judgment when they were compiling the canon prevented these stories and these books and these gospels to become part of the Holy Scripture that we have today. So with that, I have to tell you that I'm going to read you a story today, and it is the one and only childhood story portrayed in our Holy Bible about Jesus as a youth. I think this is an authentic story for a couple of reasons, and they're very simple reasons. They're the most practical reasons. First of all, there aren't any miracles involved. There's nothing that portrays Jesus as performing any sort of magic trick at all. And that comports well with what we've read in other parts of Scripture, that Jesus's first miracle was at the wedding where he changed water into wine as an adult. So all of these other silly miracle stories with no theological underpinnings could not have happened before that. Second, if you hear the story, it's pretty authentic and truthful. It is a story most parents and children could relate to. And throughout the week, I'll be talking about some of the things about this story that are interesting for us to understand. So here it is, the one and only childhood story of Jesus Christ. And it is found in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 2, verses 41 through 52. Now, every year, his parents went to Jerusalem for the festival of the Passover. And when he was 12 years old, they went up as usual for the festival. When the festival was ended and they started to return, the boy Jesus stayed behind in Jerusalem, but his parents did not know it. Assuming that he was in the group of travelers, they went a day's journey. Then they started to look for him among the relatives and friends. When they did not find him, they returned to Jerusalem to search for him. After 3 days, they found him in the temple, sitting among the teachers, listening to them and asking them questions. And all who heard him were amazed at his understanding and his answers. When his parents saw him, they were astonished. And his mother said to him, "Child, why have you treated us like this? Look, your father and I have been searching for you in great anxiety." He said to them, "Why were you searching for me? Did you not know that I would be here in my father's house?" But they did not understand what he said to them. Then he went down with them and came to Nazareth and was obedient to them. His mother treasured all these things in her heart, and Jesus increased in wisdom and in years and in divine and human favor. And there you have it, the one and only authentic childhood story of Jesus Christ.